Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Just yesterday, we saw the results for the first big tournament of Set 20 Power Absorbed. So today, we're going over the sideboard tech you guys should be looking out for April 2023. We're going to go over the cards that you should be using in your upcoming big tournaments because, as we know, for the foreseeable future, the tournaments are going to be best of one pre-side, whether they're online or in person. So this is a pretty important video for the competitive players out there. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you plan on picking up any of these cards or any trading cards for that matter, it does greatly help me out if you use my link in the description to TCG Player. I really would appreciate it. Let's jump right on in, talking about our first card, Dark Power Black Mass Sand. This is a staple sideboard card, but over the past several formats, it's not been very good, but it's a lot better right now. Let me explain why. So first and foremost, this card is really good against Android 21. There are actually a lot of good tech cards against 21 for how unfair the deck can feel sometimes. So basically, against 21, whenever they play any of their cards that give you a clone token at the end of the turn, you just play BMS as your last action of the turn. If they don't counterplay it, they're pitching 2 cards mandatory because they're playing a battle card during your turn through a skill, and even though it's going to your side of the board, it still procs. So yeah, again, like last action of the turn, just like do it whatever you're doing to 21, be aggro with them, attack them, whatever, and just slam this down. They're pitching 2 cards. It's really good. This is also very good against yellow because sometimes yellow does have a problem dealing with active mode non-barrier cards. We saw Golden Frieza do very well. It won the European Online Regional. And this card can be annoying for Golden to deal with. Not being able to use Frieza Call, among other things, is kind of annoying and slows the deck down quite a bit. It's also very good against Trunks Vegeta, preventing them from bringing their 1-drops back from the drop area until they're able to answer this card. So this card is definitely much better now than it has been in previous formats. That's why I wanted to talk about it first. Then we have Quitsukai Mechanical Courage. So this is really good against a lot of the same decks I was talking about. So it's still very good against Android 21. This is still going to punish them for playing clone tokens, and it's going to punish the floodgates they play during your turn. So Android 17 Defending Friends, most arrivals they might play, it's really good. This card actually got a whole lot better against blue in general too, because we're kind of long past the days where people are playing Vegeta Ready to Rumble and Gohan Baby's Minion. But now every blue deck is pretty much playing Defending Friends. So this is a really great card against those strategies. And the thing about Defending Friends as well is, like, it feels really bad to counterplay Defending Friends with like a Super Kamehameha or a Tyrannical Blow because you're trading your 1 energy in 1 card for their 1 energy in 1 card. Whereas a lot of other floodgates like Topo, for example, or Oceanus even, when you're trading 1 card and 1 energy for their 2 energy and 2 cards, that's where the exchange feels a lot better. So Koitsukai making them warp 2 to Defending Friends you is a pretty good exchange there. And of course, still has applications against anything they might play during battle. So Goku Black, Gohan Power Reclaimed are other great options. You've also got usage here against yellow for Robotic Riposte. The new Vegito counterplay is also a really big deal. So Koitsukai and BMS look like 2 just like generic black staples that are probably going to be in a lot of people's sideboards, I would bet. These cards are really good right now, maybe more so than they've been in the past, especially in the case of Dark Power Black Mass Sand. All right, now we have all of our blue servo bullets. What's funny about this is these are actually all good right now. So the Cunning is best against Android 21 because their 8-drop Ceaseless Despair has an ability that untaps 5 energy at the end of the turn. If you have some way to like either negate the card's skills via like playing yellow pretty much, or kill the card during battle, like if you're playing blue versus blue, you could Power Reclaim it during the battle. If you're playing green, you can kill it during battle in a couple different ways. Just different examples. If you can do that, obviously you stop them from untapping 5 at the end of the turn. But just playing Trunks the Cunning, from my experience, is going to make the 21 player really have to question whether or not Ceaseless Despair is a good play, because there is a really big difference for 21 between playing Ceaseless Despair for practically 0 energy if they make it to the end of the turn safely, or tapping out for the card. Even though it is a barrier board wipe and punishes the opponent for countering, if they're defenseless on their next turn, you could do a lot to them to really just like turn the tide of the game, or possibly even just win right on the crackback. So Cunning is super huge against 21. It's also very good against the Kaioken Goku Divinity SCR, which not a lot of blue decks are playing right now, but it is very important against Beerus because they have turns where they can play SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior, ramp 4, play that SCR, untap all their energy, ramp 4 again, and now they're one turn closer to tapping 16. So it's also just good for that reason. I really think, honestly, Cunning is a pretty easy main deck 2 of for most decks, so maybe not necessarily sideboard tech. If you can fit in your main, I mean, at worst case, it's always going to just be a cantrip, and if you're not even playing a blue deck, it doesn't even hurt you. So that's my thoughts on the Cunning right now. They're very good against 21, which is theoretically a very popular blue deck, and you might not have sideboard space for it. If you can fit it in your main, I think it's kind of worth doing. But now let's talk about Godly Destruction Whis. This is a card that punishes untapping leaders typically. It used to also punish untapping Senzu Bean, but I mean, that got errated into being defensive only. But where this card is very good is actually against Golden Frieza, because once again, it's kind of difficult sometimes for yellow decks to answer active mode cards, especially early in the game. Funny story, I played Golden Frieza at the World's last championship qualifier. My opponent was playing SS4 Gogeta. He played Raditz the Oppressor, which is the red equivalent of Godly Destruction Whis, and I couldn't answer it for 5 turns. Like, I tapped it, swung at it, he would just combo to protect it, and I couldn't kill it for the rest of the game, and that was really a really bad thing. So just an experience of a Golden player who couldn't deal with a card like this. And to be fair, I wasn't prepared for this card. I didn't expect people to actually be on it. So there's plenty of stuff that Golden can tech to kill it, but you're putting them on the fact that they better have it, and if they don't, they're going to be slowed down super significantly. Then we move on to Chi-Chi, Melee Matriarch, which represent the anti-dimension magic counters. These cards are also very good, mostly against 21, but if other blue decks start to pick up usage of dimension magic again, these cards are just going to be really, really good. Blue wants to play with a lot of energy during the opponent's turn, and a card like Chi-Chi Melee Matriarch, which every color has access to, is going to punish that pretty severely. Alright, then we have Shin Noble Supremacy and Machika Bura the Broken Seal. Now, I mostly have these here because they stop the same card in a lot of cases, and that is Gogeta Triumphant Together. Both these cards are going to be able to stop that card either from attacking you altogether or just coming down in the first place. But of course, they have other uses, right? Like if you go second against Sin Shenron, or even first, on their turn 3, they can play their 8-drop. So playing Shin to going into Sin's turn 3 can definitely be super solid. Machika Bura, I would say, is definitely very expensive against Sin, because even though they won't be able to play their 8-drop, if that's what you call, they're still going to be able to hit you with a lot of other things, namely Dread Destroyer with like Trunks Deluge and super combos backing it up. That's going to be a lot of damage. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend Machika Bura for the Sin matchup, but Machika Bura is just great when you're playing against a linear strategy and you know how the deck works inside and out. Let's say, for example, you're playing against Green Gotenks, you call Gotenks 6-drop, you pretty much just stop their best play on their next turn, right? That's just one example of where Machika Bura can end up being really good. And Machika Bura is also typically good against Invoker style decks because they generally have like 1 to 2 boss cards plus their SCR that they really rely on to close out games. So Machika Bura definitely rewards player knowledge and like format knowledge. Shin is really good against, like I said, the Gogetas and the Sins, basically stopping their super big dudes from hitting you early on. It can actually also be good against Rainbow Vegito as well, which is a deck that I don't expect to do absolutely nothing this format. I think it's a deck that people will play. How successful it'll be, I think, is up in the air, but it's something that I would expect to play maybe once at like a big tournament, because I think it is a relatively popular deck and it's a good one as well, so definitely be prepared for it. Shin serves multiple roles, so does Machika Bura. They're both worthy side deck slots. Alright, now this is a hot tech for the yellow players out there. We were just talking about BMS. We were just talking about Whis, Godly Destruction. We have Gohan and Videl Power Couple. This is a red-yellow card. It's 10k combo, which makes it a little bit suspect, but its effect is really good. Activate main for a yellow. If your leader is yellow and you place this card from your hand in your drop, draw 1 card. Then choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they get minus 5k power for the turn. So yellow literally just got access to some of red's best removal for 1-drops. And this is actually also really nice for yellow players in the Cumber matchup, because you remove their Fu Z battle card, and now they're just like drawing way less cards for the rest of the game, and the game just became a whole lot easier. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be a 2 to 3 up staple in yellow decks, I think, because again, you got to answer the BMS. If you're playing golden, you got to answer the untapping silver bullets, and it just helps you all that much more in the Cumber matchup and any other random matchup like AOD, for example, that plays a barrier 1-drop. So really good card for yellows specifically. Wanted to point it out. Might be the first time some of you guys are actually seeing the card. Then we have Black Smoke Dragon. I mean, this is one to always consider. I don't think smoke serves a vital role in this particular format, but it's just so flexible. that I don't think you can really go wrong with playing it. Like, it's barrier removal, it's anti 2-cost unisons, which is great against Gogeta and some variants of Sin that play the Gogeta unison, and then other random matchups you might face. It's also draw power if you're playing against hand control. Like, again, like I said, Smoke, I don't think there's like a specific unison in this format Smoke is really obliterating. I guess Gamma would probably be the best example because hitting their unison's a big deal. But besides that, I mean, again, just for the versatility, you can't really go wrong. So if you have an extra slot or two in your side deck, definitely go with Smoke Dragon. It's a real good pick for the flexibility. All right, now we have your typical counterplays for each color. In black, you have Super Kamehameha. In yellow, you have Tyrannical Blow. In blue, you have a couple options. You have Desperate Measures as well as Absolute Release Ball. Kind of depends on whether you can get to 4 life quickly enough to turn the card on. And then in green, you have the Doria counterplay for playing in Unison or Focus Breakthrough, which I actually definitely like because hitting a 3-cost versus a 2-cost is a pretty big deal. But yeah, there's a lot of floodgates in this format. Blue and yellow have tons of them, so being able to hit those cards is really, really important. Then we have Dende new to the job. Now, this is one that I would not recommend for all decks, but we do see quite a few blue decks that manipulate their energy and as a result are vulnerable to Dende new to the job. But I'd only really recommend Dende in decks that have a lot of energy to play with themselves. So, for example, like Golden Frieza, I'd play this card in Golden Frieza far before I'd play it in like Trunks Vegeta because Golden has so much more energy to play with. Going to blue, I'd play this in Gamma before I played it in like 21 because Gamma is going to get that free untapped 3 at the end of the turn, right? That's just kind of my opinion on it. I mean, Dende might work better for you in other scenarios, depends on how you're playing, your play style. But I think that Dende is much better in decks that can afford the energy. Like, if Soul Striker somehow becomes good, like, I'd play this card in that deck, but probably not a lot of other blue decks just because it is a little bit costly to only snipe 1 energy. But sniping 1 energy can be really good. Against Gamma, they play out of their energy, so if you snipe their next big play, like their Cell 9 drop, or their blue-green that enables a Cell 9 drop, that's a really strong Dende turn. And then wrapping up the video with Deborah Ritual at hand. Now, green is not prevalent at all. Like, it's honestly just not very good. But, I mean, sometimes you might want to be prepared. With blue being relatively popular, I mean, blue does struggle against hand control. Problem is, people haven't found the good hand control deck yet, and if they do, you're going to want your copies of Deborah, but this is probably one you can leave off your sideboard for now. It is a little bit greedy to do so, and if you're the unlucky fellow that comes across a green deck in your Swiss rounds, you're going to feel pretty bad about it, but if you are siding Smoke Dragon, at least you have that versatility of drawing 2 cards. It does cost 1 more energy, but hey, we got to cover all of our bases, right? But anyways, that's what I got for you guys in today's video. Drop anything down below that you are going to be siding in this format that I didn't mention. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.